folks, so today we're going to make a sourdough starter, and that's going to help us make our own lovely sourdough bread. It's a really simple process. You'll be absolutely amazed about how Okay, so our starter is ready, thankfully. So in here we have 400 mils of warm water. That's just warm to the touch, so quite tepid really. And then of course we have our starter. So I'm going to put about 100 grams of this into the 400 mils of water and give it a nice mix around. So when that's nice and mixed, we add it to our flour. So in here I have got 400 grams of white bread flour and 100 grams of wholemeal flour. So straight in there it goes, and then with clean hands we're going to give it a nice mix around. So get your hands right in there. Now it's going to be kind of wet, not like a normal bread dough, but make sure you get it thoroughly mixed around. So get it into what resembles a ball. Now you're going to be tempted to put flour on your hands, but don't do that because that's going to make your dough very dense, and we don't want that. We want to keep it nice and light. And now we're just going to cover it with a clean tea towel and leave it there for about an hour. So after that hour, I'm just going to add about a teaspoon and a half of salt. Spread that around a little bit like that. And then about a tablespoon of water. And now we're going to mix it. Next we're going to stretch the dough up on top of itself like this. We'll turn it a quarter, bring it around, just folding it over onto itself. We're going to do this about 8 times, okay? Do it once, turn it a quarter, again. Lift it up, fold it back. Lift it up, fold it back. And that's it. So after that process, I've just flipped it back over upside down basically, and I'm going to cover it again for another hour. So after the third process we're left with this. So this is a nice kind of round ball. It's nice and elastic now. It'll actually come up away from your bowl, so you can lift it out, lift it onto our surface. And this is the first stage that we're going to use just a little sprinkle in the flour. I said you don't want to use too much because you don't want to make your dough heavy. And then we're going to get our dough scraper. If you don't have a dough scraper, you got to use your hands. So we're going to bring up and forward and back into ourselves. Forward and back into ourselves. I'm just going to keep on repeating this process, and you're going to get a nice round ball basically. So from the side and back to yourself. From the side and back to yourself. And just keep doing that process. So now we're going to let it rest one last time. So this time for about another 45 minutes to an hour. And then it will flatten out, and then we're going to shape it and bake it. Okay, so now it's flattened out, and now what we're going to do is we're going to do this little envelope thing. So what we do is basically we're going to stretch it out from one side, pull it back to itself, and from the other side, just make sure you don't tear it, and back to itself, and to the other side, and then one more from here, from the so north, south, east and west basically, and fold it back in itself. Then we're going to flip it over and then we're going to put it in our container. So I'm going to use a Pyrex dish. Just about 1/4 liter Pyrex dish. I'm going to get a clean tea towel in there, a little bit of flour so it won't stick, and then we're just going to cover it over for another hour. So once that's shaped there for about 45 minutes, we're going to get it into a bowl. So normally you would have maybe a Pyrex, something like that you can use. You can use a Dutch oven, something like that. I'm just going to use this. This is a pot. I'm missing the lid off it. So what I'm going to do is I have a bottom of a cake tin. That's just going to steam it. We're going to steam for about 15 minutes. So in it goes. Just going to be a little cross down this way. That's just going to allow the gas to escape inside the bread. Okay, so that goes into the oven with the lid on top, and we'll take that lid off in 15 minutes. Now after about 50 minutes, we're ready to come out. So we're just going to test the bottom of it. As you can hear it, nice and hollow. And then we flip it the other side. As you can see, that lovely crisscross shape on it. And we're going to leave that cool down now for about 30 to 40 minutes before we cut into it. As you can see, I've just cut into it now. You can see those lovely holes from beautiful natural yeast. That is a lovely, perfect loaf of sourdough.